Welcome back to Globewise Entertainment, your ultimate destination for hidden movie gems, cult classics, and the wildest stories Hollywood ever told. Tonight, we're rewinding the VHS tape and diving straight into 10 totally 80s cult classics perfect for retro movie nights. From cheesy sci-fi adventures to neon-soaked comedies, these are the films that defined an era and still pack that nostalgic punch today. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Globewise Entertainment for more retro film dives, band classics, and behind-the-scenes Hollywood secrets. And here's a challenge for you. As we go through the list, tell us in the comments which 80s cult classic is your favorite, or the one you'll be adding to your next movie night lineup. We love hearing your picks. 1. Secret Admirer, 1985. A love letter gone wild. Back in the neon-lit days of the mid-80s, teen comedies ruled the box office, but Secret Admirer stood out for its clever mix of romance, comedy, and chaotic misunderstandings. Starring C. Thomas Howell and Lori Loughlin, this cult gem begins with a simple love letter. But here's the twist. When that letter is accidentally misplaced, it sparks a domino effect of wild mix-ups, secret crushes, and hilarious confusion across a group of unsuspecting teens and adults. What made Secret Admirer more than just another 80s high school flick was its sharp humor and relatable theme, the fear and excitement of expressing your true feelings. It perfectly captured that awkward, thrilling energy of young love. Before texting, before DMs, back when a handwritten note could change everything. While it wasn't a huge blockbuster, the film found its cult status on VHS and late-night cable marathons, where a new generation of fans fell in love with its mix of sweet romance and slapstick charm. Today, Secret Admirer still feels like a time capsule of 80s teen culture, big hair, pop tunes, and the idea that one secret note could turn an ordinary summer into unforgettable chaos. So if you're planning a retro movie night, this one's a must. It's lighthearted, funny, and full of that authentic 80s magic that never fades. 2. Rush Week, 1989. If you're looking for a lesser-known 80s slasher that perfectly captures the neon-soaked college party vibe of the decade, Rush Week is a hidden gem worth pulling off the shelf. Released in 1989, this cult classic mixes all the trademarks of late 80s horror, sorority drama, frat house debauchery, and a masked killer picking off students one by one. The film follows Tony Daniels, a freshman journalism student who stumbles upon a string of mysterious disappearances during fraternity initiation week. Instead of joining in the parties, she starts investigating and uncovers a dark secret lurking beneath the campus's seemingly carefree surface. What makes Rush Week such a fun retro watch isn't just its slasher roots, but its unmistakable late 80s aesthetic, oversized hair, synth-heavy soundtrack, and college stereotypes straight out of a VHS time capsule. While it never reached mainstream success, it's become a cult favorite among collectors and horror fans who crave that authentic video rental store feel. For retro movie night, Rush Week is a perfect pick if you want that mix of campy thrills and nostalgic atmosphere. It's the kind of film that wasn't taken seriously when it came out, but decades later, it's exactly the kind of underrated gem fans love to rediscover with friends, popcorn, and maybe a neon beer sign glowing in the background. 3. The Dungeon Master, 1984. If there's one movie that screams pure 80s cult energy, it's The Dungeon Master, a wild, genre-bending fantasy adventure that feels like stepping into the mind of a gamer who just discovered both Dungeons and Dragons and computers. Released in 1984, this quirky gem is also known as Rage War, and it follows Paul, a computer genius, and his girlfriend Gwen, who are suddenly transported into a surreal fantasy dimension. There, they must face a demonic overlord named Mestima, played by the legendary Richard Mall, whose booming presence makes the movie unforgettable. But here's the twist. Paul has his custom AI computer, Excalibur-8, strapped to his wrist like an early version of a smart device, and it helps him battle through a series of bizarre, magical challenges. What makes the Dungeon Master so unique, and so beloved by cult fans, is its anthology-style format. The movie is split into 7 segments, each directed by different filmmakers, giving it a constantly shifting tone and style. One moment you're watching a heavy metal-inspired fantasy duel, the next you're in a sci-fi cyberpunk shootout. It's chaotic, it's cheesy, and it's absolutely 80s. Even though it was a low-budget production, the Dungeon Master has built a loyal fan base over the decades. Fans love it for its mix of fantasy, horror, sci-fi, and that unmistakable VHS-era charm. Today, it's considered a midnight movie staple, perfect for retro watch parties where everyone can laugh, cheer, and revel in the over-the-top creativity of 80s cult cinema. So, if you're planning a retro movie night and want something that feels like a D&D campaign mixed with early computer geek dreams, the Dungeon Master will deliver a strange but thrilling ride. It's not just a movie, it's an 80s time capsule that proves cult classics are born when filmmakers dare to go all in, no matter how wild the vision. 4. My Stepmother Is an Alien, 1988. If you're looking for something utterly weird, hilariously campy, and unapologetically 80s, then My Stepmother Is an Alien is your go-to retro pick. Released in 1988, this sci-fi rom-com is the definition of a cult classic, combining alien invasions with over-the-top comedy and, of course, plenty of neon-soaked 80s charm. The story follows Dan Aykroyd as a nerdy scientist whose experiments accidentally send a signal into space. Instead of attracting NASA's attention, he summons an alien from another planet, played by the stunning Kim Basinger, who arrives on Earth with a mission to save her world. But here's the twist. She disguises herself as a glamorous woman, learns human culture in the most awkward ways possible, and ends up falling for Aykroyd. This movie is loaded with outrageous gags, fish-out-of-water humor, and that surreal mix of sci-fi and rom-com that only the 80s dared to pull off. It even features a young Allison Hannigan, yes, from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and How I Met Your Mother, in one of her earliest roles. Critics weren't too kind back in the day, but over time, My Stepmother Is an Alien found its audience, fans who love it for its campiness, B-movie energy, and pure nostalgia factor. It's the kind of film that perfectly captures the 80s obsession with blending genres, and it's an absolute blast for retro movie nights with friends. So grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and get ready to watch an alien try to figure out romance, humanity, and what the heck Earth is all about. This one's so bad it's good, and that's exactly why it's a cult classic. 5. Tuff Turf, 1985. The bad boy of 80s cult cinema. If you're searching for the perfect retro flick to spice up your 80s movie night, Tuff Turf deserves a front row seat. Released in 1985, this gritty teen drama mixes rebellion, romance, and street-level action into a neon-soaked cocktail of pure 80s energy. At the heart of the film is James Spader, yes, before Pretty in Pink and Stargate, playing Morgan, a rebellious outsider who just can't seem to fit into the polished suburbs of Los Angeles. When he crosses paths with Frankie, a tough, no-nonsense girl played by Kim Richards, sparks fly, but so does trouble. Frankie is the girlfriend of a dangerous gang leader, and Morgan's defiance quickly turns into a fight for survival, love, and identity. What makes Tuff Turf a cult classic isn't just its edgy story, it's the unapologetically 80s style, leather jackets, street fights, moody synth music, and a don't mess with me attitude that perfectly captured the decade's rebellious youth culture. The film even features a young Robert Downey Jr. as Morgan's quirky sidekick, long before he became Tony Stark. Though it wasn't a box office smash, Tuff Turf became a late-night cable and VHS rental favorite, resonating with anyone who loved stories of outsiders carving their own path. Today, it stands as a retro time capsule, a reminder of when teen dramas weren't afraid to be dark, dangerous, and a little bit wild. So if you want to turn your movie night into a neon-lit street showdown of love, loyalty, and rebellion, Tuff Turf is the 80s cult gem you didn't know you needed. 6. Blastfighter, 1984. If you thought the 80s couldn't get any wilder than neon jackets and VHS rental store gems, then you probably haven't seen Blastfighter. This 1984 Italian-American cult action film is one of those movies that feels like it was designed specifically for the late-night crowd who just wanted explosions, grit, and pure revenge-driven mayhem. The story follows Tiger Sharp, a former cop who's trying to live a quiet life in the backwoods after a stretch in prison. But of course, in true 80s cult movie fashion, peace doesn't last long. Soon, he's at war with a gang of ruthless poachers led by his old nemesis. What starts as a backwoods survival drama quickly turns into an all-out action bloodbath, with shotguns, hand-to-hand combat, and even flamethrowers making an appearance. Blastfighter isn't exactly Oscar material, but that's not why it's legendary. It's the kind of movie you watch with friends on a Friday night, pizza on the table, and everyone laughing and cheering at the over-the-top fight scenes. The mix of brutal violence, cheesy one-liners, and pure 80s aesthetic has turned it into a must-watch cult classic. Fun fact, the film was originally meant to be a sci-fi action flick, but budget changes transformed it into a gritty rural revenge movie. Somehow, that made it even more iconic. It's like First Blood turned up to 11. If you're curating a retro movie night, Blastfighter delivers everything you want: action, camp, and a blast of unapologetic 80s energy that makes it unforgettable. 7. Innerspace, 1987. Now, if you're looking for a movie that perfectly blends sci-fi, comedy, and pure 80s fun, Innerspace is your ticket. Directed by the legendary Joe Dante, the same genius behind Gremlins, this film is a wild ride that feels like part action flick, part screwball comedy, and part Saturday matinee adventure. The story follows a hotshot Navy pilot, played by Dennis Quaid, who volunteers for a groundbreaking miniaturization experiment. The idea? Shrink him down to microscopic size inside a tiny pod and inject him into a rabbit for testing. But of course, this is the 80s. We don't just stop at science. Thanks to a group of bungling criminals, the experiment goes wrong, and Quaid's character ends up inside the bloodstream of a hypochondriac grocery clerk, played hilariously by Martin Short. What follows is a roller coaster of chase sequences, body comedy gags, and larger-than-life special effects that were mind-blowing for 1987. You get to experience epic adventures happening literally inside the human body, something no one had quite seen before on the big screen. But what really makes Innerspace a cult classic is its chemistry of stars. Martin Short delivers one of his funniest performances, and the always radiant Meg Ryan adds charm and heart, making it more than just a goofy sci-fi comedy. Add in cutting-edge effects that even won an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, and you've got a film that has aged into the perfect retro popcorn flick. This is the kind of movie that makes a retro movie night unforgettable, equal parts nostalgic, entertaining, and just plain weird in the best way possible. So, if your idea of fun is watching the 80s push sci-fi to its zaniest extremes while serving up plenty of laughs, then Innerspace is a must for your list. 8. Dead Heat, 1988. If you thought the 80s couldn't get any weirder, then Dead Heat is here to prove you wrong. Released in 1988, this bizarre blend of buddy cop action, horror, and comedy is the kind of cult gem that makes retro movie nights unforgettable. The story follows two LAPD detectives, Roger Mortis, yes, that's really his name, and Doug Bigelow, who stumble onto a sinister criminal plot involving reanimated corpses. After being killed during an investigation, Roger doesn't let a little thing like death slow him down. Thanks to a resurrection machine, he's brought back to life, but only temporarily. With his clock ticking down, Roger teams up with Doug to stop a wave of undead criminals running wild in Los Angeles. What makes Dead Heat so much fun isn't just the outrageous premise, but the way it balances slapstick humor with gory, over-the-top special effects that scream 1980s. Imagine Lethal Weapon meets Reanimator, with a dash of dark comedy. The movie even features a standout scene in a Chinese restaurant where cooked ducks and slabs of meat literally come back to life, an absolutely bonkers sequence that has earned Dead Heat its cult status. Though it didn't make waves at the box office, today it's beloved by fans of campy horror comedies who appreciate its mix of practical effects, cheesy one-liners, and unapologetically weird energy. If you're planning a retro movie night, Dead Heat is the perfect, so bad it's good ride that guarantees laughs, jumps, and endless, "what did I just watch?" moments. So grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and get ready to watch a detective literally fight crime from beyond the grave. 9. The Last Starfighter, 1984. Imagine this. You're a teenager stuck in a small trailer park, dreaming of something bigger, something beyond your world. That's exactly the life of Alex Rogan in The Last Starfighter, until one night, he beats a video game that turns out to be a secret recruitment test for real intergalactic star pilots. Suddenly, this ordinary kid finds himself recruited into an epic space battle to save the galaxy. Released in 1984, The Last Starfighter didn't just ride the wave of Star Wars, it dared to do something bold for its time. It was one of the first movies to use groundbreaking CGI special effects to create alien ships, planets, and battles instead of relying on traditional models. That futuristic risk gave it a unique charm that still feels nostalgic today. But beyond the tech, what really makes this movie a cult classic is its message, that even someone from the most ordinary background can be destined for something extraordinary. For 80s kids who grew up in arcades, it was a dream come true. Your favorite video game could actually be a gateway to heroism. Today, The Last Starfighter holds a special place in retro movie culture. It's a time capsule of 80s optimism, adventure, and the belief that the underdog can change the universe. Perfect for a retro movie night, it's not just popcorn fun. It's a reminder that sometimes, the stars are closer than you think. 10. The Dungeon Master, 1984. Now here's one that screams only the 80s. The Dungeon Master, also known internationally as Rage War, isn't your average fantasy adventure. It's a wild anthology-style ride that feels like a fever dream straight out of a VHS rental store. Released in 1984, this movie fuses the sword and sorcery craze with cutting-edge, for the time, computer wizardry, creating something truly unforgettable for cult cinema fans. The story follows Paul, a computer genius whose advanced AI program gets him transported into a mystical realm by the evil sorcerer Mestima, played with delicious villainy by Richard Mall, yes, Bull from Night Court. What unfolds is a series of bizarre trials across multiple worlds, each segment directed by a different filmmaker, including Charles Band, the mastermind behind Puppet Master and Trancers. From laser battles with robots to a rock concert showdown with the heavy metal band W.A.S.P, The Dungeon Master is pure retro spectacle. What makes this film such a cult gem is its unapologetic mix of genres. It's part fantasy, part sci-fi, part horror, and part music video, and yet somehow, it all works in that perfectly cheesy 80s way. The practical effects and neon visuals ooze retro charm, while the episodic structure makes it feel like flipping channels through the strangest late-night TV marathon imaginable. For retro movie nights, The Dungeon Master delivers everything you want: over-the-top villains, quirky effects, campy dialogue, and a pounding synth-heavy soundtrack. It's the kind of movie that begs to be watched with friends, popcorn, and maybe a drinking game for every time Paul's computer tries to analyze magic with science. It might not have been a box office smash, but its creativity and sheer weirdness secured The Dungeon Master a permanent spot in the 80s Cult Film Hall of Fame. If you want to experience a film that's as unpredictable as the decade itself, this one's a must-watch for your retro movie night lineup. And there you have it, 10 totally 80s cult classics perfect for retro movie nights. From outrageous sci-fi battles to neon-soaked comedies, these gems prove why the 80s will always be the ultimate era of cult cinema. Now it's your turn. Which one of these movies would you press play on first? Or maybe you've got your own 80s cult favorite we didn't mention. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love seeing your pics and movie memories. If you had fun on this retro trip, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us here at Globewise Entertainment for more hidden classics, behind-the-scenes stories, and the wildest chapters of movie history. Until next time, keep the popcorn popping, keep the VHS spirit alive, and we'll see you in the next video.